Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Xbox On.
So it's nearly E3 and there are going to be loads of cool announcements of new games coming up in the next few months.
But before we get excited about everything coming at E3, we thought we'd take a look at some of the best games of 2016 so far. So let's take a look.
Do you have a bit of a wild side? Do you get excited at the prospect of taming big fluffy animals? Do you get even more excited at being able to command them to rip all your enemies to shreds? Yes. Then we should be friends, and you're likely one of the many people who picked up Far Cry Primal earlier this year. The latest in the excellent Far Cry series took a turn back in time to a slightly different setting to its predecessors. In fact, it went back to the Stone Age to take a look at our predecessors. Being set before bullets were a thing, gameplay switched from gun-focused combat to massive, scary, animal-based combat, with players using the help of bows, arrows, and Mother Nature to take out foes. Here, firearms are not a weapon, but a description of what happens when you get a little too close to the flames. My favourite thing was the addition of the owl. Your feathery friend can help you get a lay of the land and scout the area for enemies, because apparently digital cameras with zooms didn't exist back then? Oh, but digital cameras don't dive down and attack your enemies. So yeah, I'm fine with the bird replacement.
Quite possibly one of the most anticipated games of early 2016 was The Division. Based in a mid-apocalyptic New York City, you were a Division agent sent in to help keep the peace. For me, this was a game I put a ridiculous amount of time into just because it was so enjoyable and addictive to play, all the way up to level 30, doing missions and encounters with my friends, to that constant niggle that I needed to get better equipment and guns than all of them, so I had the higher DPS. You know what I'm on about. Then you had the Dark Zone, which was the first time in a long time I got those butterflies in my stomach as I was nervously extracting my first high-end weapon, something I haven't had in a long time since I first started playing RuneScape and went into the wilderness as a kid. And that's what I think made The Division one of the best games of 2016 so far. Great fun to play with your friends, awesome setting, character progression, and that unique player versus player you got in the Dark Zone, and I can't wait to see what they do next through the DLC.
Who would have thought the combination of high-speed, rocket-powered cars and the much-loved sport of football would work so well together? Everyone? Oh. Well, thankfully, Psyonix took this idea and ran with it, or rather drove with it, to create Rocket League. We've sunk hours into this game, as once you start playing the just one more match mentality kicks in. I mean, it's only 5 minutes, right? Then 2 hours later, you're still there riding on a goal streak high, or more likely screaming at someone on your team because they stole your goal or smacked into you for the 15th time, even though you turn around and do the exact same thing if you had the chance. Thanks to this perfect blend of fun and frustration, Rocket League proved to be a worldwide success, joining the Xbox One this spring and releasing the new Hoops mode soon after, which, yes please, thank you. Also, are any of you like me and think it's like some special weird bonus round from Robot Wars? I mean, it's a bunch of nerds controlling machines in a cage and you can bash each other to smithereens, am I right?
I was so excited for this game since I heard about it last year at E3. Doom was the original FPS that got me hooked when I was younger. One thing I have to say is the game looks awesome. When you pull off a glory kill and just rip a demon's arm off and hit him in the face with it, you just feel like a total badass. And I also love the campaign. It's really fast paced and doesn't ever really seem to slow down. There's also Ultra Nightmare mode, which I haven't had a chance to play yet. However, it sounds like it could be one of those modes that just leaves you ripping your hair out as you stupidly kill yourself by falling off a ledge. The multiplayer is also really fun, especially when you get your chance to turn into a demon and go on a killing spree, just knocking everyone all over the place. But my favourite thing about Doom 2016 is Snap Map, as there are so many cool game modes that people are already creating that's just going to constantly breathe life into the game for years to come.
If, like me, your ideal evening is one spent pretending to be a bald guy who garrots people, then you can go do that, but you might get in trouble with the police. Instead, I recommend the next best thing, the new Hitman. Yes, Agent 47 is back, and the first 2 episodes are available for players to jump into and assassinate targets in whatever way they wish. If your favourite assassination isn't the exploding golf ball, I think you're going to alienate yourself from a lot of your fellow assassins, just saying. I for one really appreciate being given the freedom to take out people from the wide variety of options open to players. You can poison someone and drown them in a toilet as they throw up, throttle someone before shoving them in a wardrobe, or you can live your true dream by disguising yourself as a model and taking the catwalk. I don't care if it's not going to help with the assassination, I feel fabulous. Also, I actually really like the episodic releasing of this game. Chatting to fellow players, we've all agreed that it's encouraged us to play through each level multiple times whilst we wait for the next one to come along. So many ways to kill and plenty of time to refine them.
This game went completely under my radar at the start of the year, which surprises me as I've always become addicted to Blizzard games, and that's Overwatch, their new arena FPS. Now, Overwatch has 21 heroes for you to choose to play as, my personal favourites being McCree and Junkrat, which fall under one of 4 different roles. Offensive characters like Soldier 76, defensive characters like Widowmaker, tanks like Reinhardt, and support characters like Mercy, each hero having a range of abilities to help fulfill out their role. Now, what I love about this game is just the huge variety of playstyles you have available to you. If you get bored of playing in a particular way, you can choose a different hero and just completely freshen up the gameplay. The game is also incredibly fun. There's nothing more satisfying than getting your ultimate ability and taking out an entire team trying to capture an objective. But what I think makes Overwatch one of the best games of 2016 is just how fluid the game plays and how well balanced the game is. There's no real individual hero that's really overpowered or a moment that you think you got really screwed over. It's just a ton of fun and a game you just want to play more and more of.
Swedish indie developers Coldwood Interactive certainly know how to melt our hearts. In February, they released UNRAVEL, a gorgeous puzzle platformer with possibly the cutest protagonist ever, Yanni. With its fun puzzles, beautiful music, and gorgeous environments inspired by the Swedish countryside, UNRAVEL lassoed me with a red string of wool and pulled me right in. See what I did there? Words can't quite describe how I felt after finishing my first playthrough. In fact, I think the only way to accurately describe my feelings on this game is a contented sigh. Although I did also get a little bit emotional. But the game isn't just here because of how it managed to turn me and many of you into little puddles of emotion. The gameplay is a unique take on puzzle platforming, bringing something new to the table, with the string of yarn both allowing players to retrace their steps and also add the challenge of not running out. Add this to a heartwarming setting with a character you can't help but go "Mwah!" when you see him do anything, and you have a recipe for an excellent game that I'll never shut up about.
I also thought I'd give an honourable mention to Dark Souls 3, as it's definitely been one of the most talked about games of the year so far, especially as it made me quite literally want to tear my hair out all the time. The challenge of Dark Souls 3 was pretty damn awesome, with some of the bosses taking me an absolute age to beat. Stupid Abyss watchers. But Dark Souls 3 has definitely been one of the best games of the year so far.
Next up, or maybe we've already covered this, I don't know, I get confused by this game, but we have the game that made us time stop, and look, playing it was a time blast. Loads of us had to time rush out and grab a copy. No, but awful puns aside, when we got our hands on it, Quantum Break blew us all away. This third-person shooter was beautifully morphed into something completely new with the use of Jack Joyce's time powers. Smart AI trying to flush you out and fill you with bullets meant that you had to think strategically, stringing powers together and making use of all the space. There were also puzzles to solve, an array of interesting characters to meet, and an entire time-travelling mystery to wrap your head around. Don't worry, I won't spoil anything for those of you who haven't played it, but seriously, go play it. There was also the introduction of live-action episodes between each act of the game, showing us what was happening at Monarch Solutions whilst we ran around as Jack Joyce. These were so well done, and not many studios could pull something like this off, but come on, this is Remedy. I also have a particular soft spot for this game, as I got to see the Remedy studios in Finland, have a snowball fight with Sam Lake, and play the game with him and Shawn Ashmore a few weeks later. No, I don't understand how this is a real job either. Really, there are so many games we'd like to put into this top 10. We're very sad that you can only put 10 in, even though that's how numbers work. Damn numbers. However, my final game in our top 10 games of 2016 so far is Super Hot. Super Hot. Super Hot.
Super Hot.
This fabulous indie title was born out of a 7-day FPS jam project, given new life via a successful Kickstarter, and gave us one of the most innovative mechanics for a shooter ever. Time only moves when you move, making the game both an FPS and a puzzle game, and ridiculous fun. I particularly love Endless Mode and the quirky mystery surrounding the whole thing, with code and messages flashing on your screen. The eye-catching graphics are great, with bright red enemies shattering before your eyes alongside a very satisfying noise. Super Hot is popular with you lot, and for so many good reasons. If you haven't tried it and aren't usually a fan of first-person shooters, I suggest you give it a try before you ignore it. I mean, you can cut both people and bullets in half with a katana. So there are our top 10 favourite games of 2016 so far.
Also, let us know in the comments below what your favourite games of 2016 have been, and did any of them make the list?
Don't forget to drop us a thumbs up and subscribe for way more cool E3 content coming soon.